To others in this hour who are patiently holding and want to talk about Benghazi Gate, who want to talk about IRS harassment of Liberty Group Gate, where they openly say in the memos, Inspector General, if you talk about the Constitution and promote freedom or American systems, that's when they went after you. This is an enemy occupying force. You know, if the Nazis would have taken over America, which they came close to doing under the McCormick-Dickstein Committee, actually exposed that in Congress. If you don't know about it, the London Guardians reported on it. It was classified after it happened, a lot of it, because it was so shocking that a lot of top families in America wanted to actually join the Nazis in the mid-30s. Hitler was very popular. He was on the cover of Time magazine as a good guy, as a progressive. The reason I segue off into that is that if the Nazis would have taken over America, you would think the Nazis were good because the media would tell you so. And the tactics being used by Obama and by corrupt elements of the government are what authoritarians have done over and over again. We know exactly what this is. And if the Nazis would have gotten control in the coup d'etat they planned in 1935, 36, 37, if General Smedley Butler, two-time Congressional Medal of Honor winner, rock star in the newsreels, just amazing guy, best-selling author, if he hadn't blown the whistle and gone along with the coup plan, we would have been under fascist control. And, you know, it's the same thing today. We need to say no to the foreign globalist banks. And if the Nazis would have taken over with their own brand of American fascism, they would have said the Constitution's bad, the Bill of Rights is bad, anybody that promotes this is the enemy. That's what they did through puppet states in Poland and Austria and France and everywhere else. They came in with collaborators. I mean, the Germans only left like 50,000 troops in France after they took it over. The French actually stood down. They bought off 9 out of 10 of their generals. The Blitzkrieg didn't really succeed. They only had to drive the British at Dunkirk with their expeditionary force that happened to already be in France up to the coastline. And then they even called off the Luftwaffe headed up by Hermann Goering. I mean, this is the history of it, and let the British go back. Because they had a peace treaty with England, and that's why Albert Speer then, well, that came out in the Nuremberg trial. Rudolf Hess then tried to fly over and deliver it and the rest of it, and they just locked him up. The truth is the British had actually helped put Hitler in power, promised him he could take over Europe, and then set him up. And again, that's not the British people that did that. See, I start thinking about Benghazi Gate and what's happening in America, and I go back to Napoleon. I go back to Hitler. I go back to Lenin. I go back to Mao. I go back to Julius Caesar. I go back to Genghis Khan, Kublai Khan. I go back to Mesoamerica and Montezuma. I go back because it repeats over and over again. And I'm sitting here. I've seen this movie 100 times. I know what's going to happen. And that's what's so frustrating is that I understand it. And it's not hard to understand. We've got grade A hardcore cancer in America, politically. And you either cut it out, folks, or it's going to go all the way. And I've said the power structure, large segments of it, are now going, wait a minute, I'm not going to be in power? Because, see, when they started going after billionaires and stuff, the globalists did, who weren't part of the club, they've now turned against the dominant power group of Rockefeller and Warren Buffett at the core of it. And so there's a fight internally in the globalists right now. And the globalists are people like us as well. A lot of them are not pure evil because they're not in the inner circle. They haven't been admitted into it because they're not totally wicked. And if we just politically put out the ideas of liberty, we're going to sell people in the media and in the power structure at all levels to get into what we're selling, which is freedom. Freedom is very sexy, folks. It's very alluring. It's empowering and it's addictive. Not being afraid of the globalist, not being afraid of what they do to me, breaking huge national stories every week, catching them in lies, having victories against them, and I'm just one guy with an army of liberty lovers behind me. And other people are tuning in to what Thomas Jefferson called the animating contest of liberty. And these people now go before the state police nationwide and say, we're getting ready to take the guns of Christians and arrest them. And the state police in Colorado, and I was also told, this came out in the news, but I was also told in Texas, actually are now getting up in these meetings even though they were hired because they follow orders, and are going, what did you just, what are you talking, what is this? They're actually having that moment of what? The IRS is spying on college students that have Facebook accounts criticizing big government, and they're going after effective people, good-looking people, people with high grades. They're scared of you because they know that humans have power. The team we're playing against is a bunch of scum. And if you would just get up off your hind ends, folks, we'd beat these people very quickly. And they're scared of people that know the power we have. I'm telling you, folks, there's a spirit of liberty, and it comes from the creator of the universe. And it is religious. I'm just going to, you know, I'm not selling some religion. I'm not saying what church to go to. I'm telling you, I've studied history, and good is always driven by a spiritual belief in justice, and the people driven by that spirit do not fear pain of death or torture. And we are the light of the world. We are the real salt of the world. We are the real illuminated ones. The New World Order calls themselves the Illuminati, but their symbol is the owl that can see in the dark. It brings darkness to you so that it can rule. They're not the real illuminated ones. Lucifer is not the real illuminated one. He's not the angel of light. He's trying to be God. God is the real light. God is the real music of the spirit. God is the real universe. God is the creator. God is life. That's what I worship. Not the twisted ones that would play God.